Hello and welcome to another live edition of the Nittany Dispatch as I adjust my microphone here real quick. I am John Sauber, Penn State beat writer at the Center Daily Time. She's Audrey Snyder doing the same at InsideTheLines.substack.com. And Audrey, this is the best game Penn State has played this season.
Yeah, they saved the best for last, as in the last game of Beaver Stadium. Penn State blasts Nebraska 37-10.
I went obliterate in my
obliterate.
story.
Yeah, well, obliterate like my computer battery, which is fading really quickly. So we're gonna have to really speed through this show tonight.
Or we're all just going to watch Audrey try to plug in her laptop if you're watching on YouTube.
100%. That's what's going to end up happening. I have to find another outlet. It's going to be a whole scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this was you mentioned on the pregame show, John, that, you thought maybe we would see the Penn State that we thought we'd see this year in this game. Well, sure enough, we did. I mean, we saw a defense that was really good going, fourth down stop on Nebraska's opening drive, which really was a tone setter. And then you flip it around to the offense, first 4 possessions, score on all 4, 3 of them being touchdowns, 1 field goal. Katron Allen becomes Penn State's all-time rushing record. I mean, there were so many feel-good moments that I don't want to gloss over them because there's been a lot of bad moments this season.
Yeah.
And I think, for fans, this was the best your team has looked all year. And enjoy it. The people in Beaver Stadium sure seem to be enjoying it, enjoying that nice moment. The seniors got a win on senior night. So, yeah, it was certainly a cool scene.
Yeah, no, and we will get to the coaching search and everything and the stuff with Terry Smith today too, but I think it is worth discussing.
Did something happen? Did Terry?
So much happened. Unbelievable.
So much.
Yes, we need to talk about Katron Allen and the fact that he had 25. I think we are back live on YouTube. Audrey, can you hear me? Oh no, she doesn't realize we're on stage here. Not an ideal situation for everyone. Our apologies. The internet in Beaver Stadium is not always cooperative. We will see if we can get it fixed here and get Audrey back in. I see someone in the chat says Wi-Fi following James to VTech. And yeah, that is kind of what is happening right now. See, someone says, I bet it gets canceled tonight. We will persevere. I think we are back. Audrey, can you hear me?
Yeah, but no, wait.
Oh no. Audrey has messed with their audio settings now, I think. I think that's what's happening.
The audio's back. You're in my headphones now.
Okay, good. I appreciate everyone that is waiting in the chat. I am enjoying it.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
Beaver Stadium Wi-Fi got me.
Yeah, listen, a lot of people saying this is why the Beaver Stadium needs upgrades. This is,
spent how many million on this renovation, John?
Someone said, can Pat not afford Wi-Fi with the money? That's a very good one. Okay, we are back. I apologize. I don't know how much you guys talk
about while I was gone. Admittedly, if you're watching on YouTube, I held this sign up for John.
Yes, Audrey.
First for a hot second. He's in the street next to me, and I was like, just help. I don't know what to do.
Yes, which is why I started laughing. I told them about that. I was trying to give them play-by-play of what you were doing. But yes. Anyways, Penn State, Katron Allen. I don't know how much everyone heard. This is essentially going to be a good chance for him next week to be the first 4,000-yard rusher in Penn State history. A chance to eclipse that and kind of get to that mark. I don't remember exactly how many yards he needs, but he's got to be pretty close. If I think maybe like 8 yards, something like that.
Well, I'm afraid to open any browsers and I'll get kicked off the internet.
Do not open any tabs. But yeah, I think this is a really nice moment for Penn State, right? This is a bad season. So much went wrong. But there is this like glimmer of hope where one of your best running backs of all time, potentially maybe your best running back of all time, I don't know, broke the all-time rushing record, had his moment, and was able to be celebrated. And I think that's really important in a year like this to have those kinds of things available to you because it's not easy. Someone asked in the chat, does Nick also get the touchdown record next week? Definitely. I am stunned they didn't give it to him tonight because they could have on a couple of occasions. They had Katron in there instead. But yeah, I would venture to guess that Nick Singleton gets a rushing touchdown next week to get the record in Penn State history.
Yeah, Allen is at 3,954 rushing yards. As I open that on my phone as to not jinx anything on my computer.
To be clear, someone said in the chat, this is the best comment that I've seen so far. This is what happens when you try to broadcast and book hotel rooms for the Pinstripe Bowl, which is something that we deserve.
This is true. Yeah. I mean, I think, John, we talked about it in the pregame show that the most logical solution was that they were going to put it together at the end of the season to be bowl eligible. And that's God. And my computer battery's about to go. So let me handle that, John. You're up, big guy.
Oh, no, not that. I'll remove you from the stage so you can handle this, and then I will just sit.
They can watch.
Okay, that's fine. But yes, I think this is like I said, it's a really nice moment in what has been a very dark season. And there's only so much you can say about a game like this other than this is what it was supposed to be, right? This was what the offense was supposed to look like. This is what the defense was supposed to look like. This is how Penn State was supposed to play against Oregon and Ohio State. And it frankly did kind of play like this against Indiana. All of these games, UCLA, Northwestern, like this is the Penn State everyone expected. This isn't the team we saw in the matchups with Villanova, Nevada, and I cannot remember the FIU. I think this is not FIU. That team. This is not that team. This is a totally different team. This is the one that I think had we seen those first 3 weeks, we would have continued this is clearly a national title contending team, but instead we got the offense that stalled out, that couldn't get things going, the defense that seemingly couldn't get stops, and I think that kind of is the bummer of this game, right? Like this was supposed to. This is what it was supposed to be the whole time, and it only shows up once.
I've got a temperamental power cord if you're watching on YouTube.
Oh, no.
So I just had to bend the cord 6 times and blow on it, and I can't move anything now because now the computer, it's charging.
Yeah, you better stay still.
This is it. I'm stuck like this. But yeah, I think, John, this is the Penn State that everybody hoped we would see, thought we would see. It took way longer than we thought, but they got here. And they got here with a backup quarterback, too. That's the other thing that's really interesting. And, I saw some comments during the game over my Substack, and people said, well, did they finally get rid of the gimmicky stuff? And is that why this was able to work?
No.
And I was like, well, they still had some of that. But, it helped that this offensive line has been much better. And I thought Terry Smith made a really interesting point. Well, there were a lot of them after the game that we will dive into.
He was certainly making some points, wasn't he?
Points with a pointed pencil, too, that he whipped out of his pocket. There was a lot to unpack there.
What a coincidence.
But I think when you kind of look at it, you say, okay, these guys are clearly playing for Terry. They're energized, and he challenged this offensive line earlier on this year, and they've risen to the occasion. But he said that the difference, well, there are a couple differences between pretty much James's tenure and his is that their top-end players are playing better now. They're getting more from the high-end guys. Yep. And a bit of a mic drop moment for Terry Smith. He said that the difference now is that they have an identity.
I don't know that they do, by the way. I think that they I think they're just playing better, and I think that's really it. That being said, it is interesting that you mentioned the top end players are playing better. Tonight, Dennis Sutton gave us a reason why that's happening. He said post game, when he was asked about what has changed, he said that the top end players are held accountable in the same way that the low end guys are. He said in the past, James Franklin held the players accountable and that was not an issue. However, he then also said that in the past, like when he was a young guy, older guys would do something wrong and it wouldn't be a big deal. Then young guys would do something wrong and it would be the end of the world. And that's not the case anymore. And so while he said James Franklin was holding everyone accountable. I think it's pretty easy to connect some dots there, right? And I think that is important in all of this too. Like, I think that's just part of like for whatever reason that is getting through to these guys more, right? That the holding the older guys accountable. I don't know if everyone just got complacent and that's why things went wrong. I really don't know. But yeah, I think Terry made an effort to make a lot of points tonight, and I don't know how much we can really talk about this. It's so weird to talk about these games right now because it's like this was awesome for Penn State. They were so good. It's like, how much does it matter? I don't know, because we're all like waiting for this impending change. And to transition to the next thing we're going to talk about, I think there are plenty of people who would like it to not look much different.
Yeah. There were cheers of Terry, just like that at the end of the game.
Very chantable name.
Very chantable name. And Terry Smith came out of the tunnel tonight wearing a 409 Joe Paterno button, which in the context of it, I absolutely, because again, we're up way high in the press box where the Wi-Fi is hit or miss, and I didn't see it.
Mostly miss.
Yeah, and I saw people on social media posting about it, and they were letting me know about it, and I said, oh, like, okay, he went there. Now, he was tweeting about Joe Paterno earlier this week, and I get it. Terry's a Joe Paterno guy. The interesting thing here is that this is a university that has really distanced itself from Paterno. And, remember hockey wore like 409 helmet stickers years ago with Guy Gadowski, and that was a whole thing. And
all hell broke loose when that happened.
Yeah, so imagine your interim head coach is coming out of the tunnel with a 409 button on his shirt on national television, and it's like for a primetime game. That's a statement, right? And that's a bold statement. And Terry,
it's very intentional.
He was asked afterward, and he said that, he was proud to be coached by Joe Paterno and that it meant a lot to him. I think, John, though, there's the broader context, and it's the, hey, Terry Smith is willing to go out on a limb because he wants this job as the head coach and say, hey, I'm not afraid to be a Joe Paterno guy because that's what I am. And there is certainly a portion of the fan base, and a loud portion of the fan base, that loves that about the guy. And we saw the, people, those, the big uglies, right? I think that's what they're called. Yeah. They had a sign that said Terry Smith is success with honor. And during the on-field celebration, and I have never seen this in my however many years it has been covering this team, players started pulling out signs.
Not sign, pieces of paper. I have no idea where they got them from. They don't either, seemingly.
That said, hire Terry Smith with like an Instagram handle on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. And like fans are chanting Terry's name. And it's this whole scene that like was never anything that I think today when I came into the stadium, I'd say, yes, players are holding up signs saying to hire the interim head coach, and the head coach is wearing a 409 button on his
It also
jacket.
said Joe on it, for what's worth. It said Joe vertically and 409 horizontally.
So is it 409 or 4 Joe? Not like however you want to do it.
Yeah, it's either an O or a 0.
Yeah, but I think again he's hitting on what a portion of the fan base and the alumni base wants to hear in the Letterman, I think. But John, I think to his comments post-game, we're very strong, we're very pointed. I mean, he told us this week he has not interviewed for the job, that his interview is every week what they're doing, right? It's clear these guys want to play for him. They love him. And Nick Dawkins, I think, did a nice job putting it in perspective afterward. He said, hey, I understand there are a lot of things at play with this decision, but we wanted to let it be known how we feel as players, and this is what we want. And boy, oh boy, John, it sure feels like we're at a boiling point with this right now.
It feels like, so I think, I'm trying to be careful, as always. I think Terry Smith probably thought getting people on his side would help him get the head coaching job. And I think getting some fans on his side would help. I think, again, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth or anything. I'm just trying to think about what he could have been thinking here. And I think the opposite may end up being true, right? I don't know that anything that happened tonight, outside of what happened on the field, I think, frankly, what happened on the field is his best case for why he should be the permanent head coach. I don't think the other stuff is going to help. I don't know that for certain, but I'm guessing that doing this stuff probably isn't all too well received You know what I mean? Like, make your case on the field, right? Like, that's your chance. Like he said, that's the interview for him. That's what they do. And now it has turned into what I think is something else. It has turned into like making your case in other ways. You know, he had the pencil with him tonight, right? Like that he talked about sharpening the pencil.
Pulled the pencil out of his pocket. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it has all become a little more intentional, right? It has all become, the case being made is a little more intentional. And I think, and I don't think Penn State fans would like to hear this, to me, this feels like it is heading toward a Larry Johnson situation more than Terry getting the interim tag removed. I would be pretty surprised if Terry Smith was the next head coach. And when I say pretty surprised, I mean floored. Mm-hmm. I just don't know that it's like, I don't foresee it. I could be wrong. I think it is a scenario where it could become untenable now, though, for him to be on the staff moving forward, because you're now creating these kind of factions. Like if players come back, however many of them there are that come back, it's clear that they wanted Terry Smith to be the head coach. Well, how does the actual head coach or whoever ends up being the head coach handle that? And how do you, like, it's not easy. And so I wouldn't be surprised then if the result now is whoever's the head coach is the head coach, and then Terry Smith is not at Penn State, whether it's at Virginia Tech, wherever. Like I think there's a higher likelihood now that Terry Smith is an assistant coach somewhere else next year than I would have thought going into this game.
Yeah, and you and I have said all along, like, we did not think he was getting this job. And I think to, like, think about it this way for a second, if you can or if you want to. Penn State did not fire James Franklin to then hire his top assistant. Like, I think that's the other kind of layer to it.
You don't fire that guy to hire the guy down the hall.
Yeah. And like, I think that's, I mean, again, you look at it and it's now, I mean, to your point, this is what the players want. Should the players get what they want if this is what they want? And I think that's
I think the answer to that is a clear no.
Yeah.
Because you cannot let the players run the program. The players are temporary. The program moving forward has to be about more than that. And like, listen, a lot of these guys won't be here next year, point blank period, whether Terry's the head coach or not. Like, I just don't think you can make a decision based on what the players want.
Yeah, you can't let the program be run by 18 to 22-year-olds, right? Like, I think that's the thing, and it's unfortunate in some regards because these guys clearly love their interim head coach and want to play for him. But again, you don't get rid of James Franklin to make a move like that, which I think was just kind of where they're at. Now, how does the fan base respond to that? I mean, based off of what we saw tonight.
Well, here's the thing. This is the last home game of the year, right? Like, it's almost easier now, right? You don't have to deal with the reactions. Like, it'll be in our chat.
It'll mellow by blue-white, yeah.
It'll be, but like by the time it's in person, like I would think it would be blown over. Fans will be excited about whoever's coming in the portal and all that stuff. But yeah, like I think there's going to be a lot of discussion. You can read, what I wrote about this over at SunnyDaily.com. I wrote that Terry's laying out his case to be head coach, right? And he laid it out pretty clearly tonight. But I don't think it's going to matter, right? I think that the chances of him actually being the head coach, like I said, are pretty minuscule.
I pulled up the quote sheet, John.
Real Terry quick before we get to the quote sheet, can I actually read something else to you and our listeners?
Sure.
It's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
One play can change a season. One upset can silence a stadium or get them chanting your interim head coach's name. With every snap, the stakes get higher. No one brings you closer to the action than DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting. From live betting to odds boosts and so much more, DraftKings Sportsbook has everything you need to stay in the action from kickoff to the final whistle. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get paid out $300 and bonus bets instantly. Own every Saturday with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DISPATCH. That's code DISPATCH to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Audrey, would you like to tell us about Roback? And by the way, thought I was doing great with the disclaimer for so long, and then they switched up the verbiage on me, and now it's getting a little slower on the end there. Yeah, I really did. Not ideal.
You know what, John? Our friends over at Roback, and you've got the Roback trifecta on today.
I do. Yes.
The hat.
This I believe is the first Roback hoodie I bought. I think it was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. No, it had to be longer than that now. 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Little forest green hoodie, the khaki colored joggers, and the Roback hat. Which again, this hat is one of the originals from them. I don't think it's available any longer, but they still have great hats.
But you can buy other Roback apparel if you use code TND20. That's TND20 as in the Nittany Dispatch 20 to save 20% off your first Roback purchase. You too could wear the Roback trifecta like John.
That's right. Especially, and listen, went golfing yesterday. Can't say I recommend that in 40-degree weather. I
was going to say, yeah.
Also wore the trifecta then, too.
Well, John, when you were golfing, did you think that in any scenario we would be talking about Terry Smith stating his case to be the next head coach Saturday night?
No, I thought I was going to coach through a senior day game and write a story that was nice about seniors.
Maybe the rushing record, yeah.
Yeah, and no, instead this went in a very different direction.
Pointed direction too. Yeah.
Yes, a very pointed direction. And the thing is too, with the whole coaching search in general, like I don't know what. Listen, I know people love Terry Smith, and they, he's beloved in the building and by fans and by assistant coaches and everything. And I just don't know how you can sell this hire. And listen, like Pat Kraft is going to make this hire, and if it's wrong, it might be the hire that gets him fired, right? And is that who you want to stake your name to? And they've talked a lot about big swings, and we've reported on here like the big swings that they're taking. I just don't think the decision can then be hire Terry Smith. And so, by the way, we'll get more into the coaching search. I did want to address real quick. Someone mentioned how Bobby Ingram getting the interview that was reported. Probably, yes, would not consider or would not think too long and hard about that one, I guess is how I would put it.
John? I still got this quote sheet up because I want to mention this. I think it's important.
Yes, sorry.
No, you're good.
It's late. I'm tired.
So we're struggling tonight. Terry was asked what switched in recent weeks since you took over that has put the players in the position to do what they've done that maybe they weren't doing before. His short, pointed answer: I think we have a true identity. Period. Next question. What do you want Penn State's identity to be, and what would it be under you as head coach permanently? Terry said it would be blue collar. We're going to roll up our sleeves and fight every day. We'll come to work with a lunch pail every day and show up. We play football. We're going to lose games. We're going to win games. We're going to win more games than we lose, but we're going to show up every single day. That's what Penn State is. Penn State football is. We fight together. We fight for one another. We're not conditional love. We're unconditional love through the storm, through the sharpener. We'll go back and get the sharpener back out when we get ready for next Saturday. Man, the guy's got quotes.
I still don't fully understand the sharpener thing. If you pull your pencil out of a pencil sharpener, you just put it back in. It's fine. It's not.
Yeah, you got to keep. That's the keep sharpening part. The keep getting better part. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just there's this weird dynamic that this sets it up for. Where I saw some comments in the chat saying, "Well, yeah, brace yourself for a lot of these guys to go to Virginia Tech if Terry's at Virginia Tech." And
brace yourself for them to go there anyways.
Yeah,
whether
he's
like there or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's the James poll. I mean, John, during pregame today, and I've never like been in a situation like this before, where I'm down at the field looking to see like, okay, what recruiting staffers are left? Like, are there any other guys that have left? Because James said he did an in-house interview with Virginia Tech on Friday night. It came out. And I just so happened to watch it. It's like the drug that you just can't step away from. You're like, I'm just curious what he said, but So I watched it, and he mentioned in there that he has 8 people already who have joined him in Blacksburg. Did not mention them by name, but I'm sure it's the 8 names that we've reported and the Threlkels and Andy
Fairly
Franks of the
obvious.
world.
Yes.
Yeah. And these are all like behind the scenes folks, people that, you know, the average fan probably wouldn't be aware of. But these people, Franklin said, he told them, hey, are you willing to come down here and get to work with me? We'll figure out your title and your salary later. And these people jumped, right? Because they're James guys.
Yeah.
I do think, and Franklin mentioned this in this interview, he said that he would wait until after the end of the regular season until he rounds out his staff. So, okay, we get the Rutgers game next week in Piscataway, 3:30 kick. If this team wins and is bowl eligible, what coaches are there for a bowl game? Yeah, like, I mean, they're going. If they're selected for a bowl game, they will go.
Yeah.
But who is there, right? So that's, again, just another layer to the Virginia Tech piece and all of this. But I think Terry is really digging in his heels of, I want this job. I'm going to play the hits to the Paterno fan base because that's what I am. That's what I'm proud of. And that's fine. But if it doesn't go his way, what then happens and what's the fallout?
Yeah, my guess right now is that Terry Smith is at Virginia Tech next year. And I'm not reporting this. I cannot stress that enough to be clear.
We're just thinking out loud at almost 2 a.m. Yeah.
If I had to guess, Terry Smith, Anthony Poindexter, if he's the defensive coordinator, Ty Howell, if he's the offensive coordinator, Justin Lustig, if he's a special teams coordinator, like those are kind of the names that I'm thinking about. Danny O'Brien is quarterback's coach. Teresa McSorley is assistant quarterback's coach. Those are the names I'm thinking about that could go to Virginia Tech. I keep seeing people mention Brian Hartline. At no point have I heard of any real traction with Brian Hartline. And I know people want him and are excited about him. I'm not saying who they should hire, any of that. All I'm saying is at no point have I heard real traction with Brian Hartline. Could that change in the next week? This search could get wild in the next week, right? Like they could, like, names out of nowhere could pop up, but I would be surprised at this point if Hartline is going to end up being involved. We see this all the time with searches, by the way. Like, you hear 2 names throughout or whatever, 5 names throughout, and then all of a sudden someone out of nowhere is the next head coach, and you report on after the fact how that happened. The names kind of remain the same. I guess if I had to make one, I feel like this is a good time to pivot to the search now, Audrey, as we wind down. If I had to make one change to what we said on Thursday, I don't know that my prediction would be Brent Key. I would probably bump him down a couple spots. Has nothing to do with the loss to Pitt. I would probably, this is the tough one because 15 hours ago
is the one that we're all gonna wait another week for. Yeah.
15 hours ago, I would have said that Jeff Brom was more of an option, and I know I'm not the only one to say that, but I also, when you get smoked by SMU that bad, I have to think that changes the calculus a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if they still communicate with him moving forward, I guess probably the best way to put it. But yeah, I think, Bob Chesney continues to be a name that is, someone that is picking up steam. The name is, you're hearing it more. I still think they're swinging on Kalen DeBoer, and yes, they're still swinging on Marcus Freeman. No, I don't think it's going to happen. That Iron Bowl is going to mean a lot, though. Like, if Kalen DeBoer loses, I think that could dictate some things. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these candidates that have been connected to Penn State for a while, the Brent Keys, the Eli Drinkwitz, end up taking jobs at SEC schools or other SEC schools, I should say, in Drinkwitz's case. Like, I think that's definitely a possibility. Could they circle back to Penn State? Sure. But that's kind of not my expectation right now. And I know I say this a lot, but it is important to look at, like, every time we do this, every time we record an episode, every time I publish a hot board over at SunderDaily.com, it is like an in-the-moment thing. It's like where things stand in that very moment.
It's a
things
fluid
change.
Situation.
Yes, they're really tough to report on. I'll say that. Like, things change so quickly that it can get tough sometimes. But like, where we're at oh man, I just looked at the clock. Sunday, November 23rd at 1:56 a.m. is like, I think DeBoer is still prevalent in the search. I think Chesney's still prevalent in the search, and like, kind of looking around after that, right, and to where things could go. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at this point. And again, like, in a week there could be resolution, or they could be weeks away. We just don't know.
You say this, and I'm like, well, what does Terry Smith wear next week? Is it like, do you
No.
wear the 409 button? Why don't do you
You
wear it
can't.
again?
You can't do that on the road. You have to do that at home. You can't.
That's true.
Like, especially Rutgers fans can be pretty vicious, like with some stuff.
Yeah, and I think too. I believe Iron Bowl. Although I did some Auburn or not Auburn. Did some Alabama radio this week. And
Yeah, so did I, and that made logging into Twitter not very fun for me.
I get very good at muting things,
Yeah.
but I realized the way they say it, it's not the way I say iron. They say iron with a much more
Iron.
elongated. No, they
Say
say
it
it
again?
differently.
You
I
say
say
it?
iron.
Yeah.
They say it's the Iron Bowl.
Oh, so
Which,
fun
yeah.
fact. I doubt my wife is watching this live at 2 a.m. She does on occasion.
We hope she's not.
Yeah, for her sake. She, for the longest time, said iron like arn. And I was like, what are you saying?
Is that like a more of a Western PA thing? Or
No,
yeah.
she's from Central Pennsylvania too. I have
Like
no
a-
idea where
yeah.
it came from. Yeah, it's very funny.
It's no, but that's, I mean, I think the Iron Bowl, I believe
Iron Bowl.
the Iron Bowl is at the same time as Penn State Rutgers. If I'm recalling correctly, I believe they're both 3:30 Eastern kicks.
Yeah.
Which will be
Gee, which one is
fascinating.
going to be on my laptop while we're covering Rutgers?
Definitely not Rutgers.
Yeah.
But I think that's, I mean, and I know fans want resolution, and hey, we want resolution too.
Yeah,
Like,
more than
we're-
anything.
we're tired of this as well. But this is what you knew would happen when you fired your coach in mid-October. And I've seen, some speculation from fans and stuff and said, well, Penn State's playing this all wrong. Like, what did they think was going to happen? And I think you and I have even had this conversation on here. If you could do it all over again, especially knowing that you could walk away and fire James Franklin for $9 million,
someone
would you
called
do
it the
it?
Iron Bowl in the chat.
It's Iron Bowl. Yeah. It's like if you knew you could fire James again for $9 million, you would do it. I think I would. Because it's not my money, but also like, I mean, I think we can't be prisoner of the moment. Like, that was stale. Like, what you had, you got a really good product, and you might have to take a step back for a year or two to then launch forward. And I think people probably don't want to hear that, but that's what happens when you reset a program. Unless, like, hey, do you just want to keep going 10-2 and keep losing to the same teams and maybe get in the playoff but bottom out? Like, that's where you were. So you're taking this risk of, hopefully elevating even further.
Yeah, I keep looking at the Iron Bowl comment, and it does keep making me laugh. But yes, I think that's the whole situation, right? Like, I think what people are kind of missing, the discussion about James is a really complex one. It's not just about going 3-3. It's about what the program looks like next year and building off of momentum and keeping people invested in the program, like financially and emotionally invested in the program. This team, had James been back, was probably going to be mediocre next year. They just, because he was not going to hit the portal as hard as I think the next head coach will. He was not going to have the talent necessary to be like super competitive in the Big Ten. And you're looking at like 8-4 and 7-5. It's like, well, now what, right? Like, what does this look like moving forward? And so I think this was the right time for a lot of reasons, and I think that plays into it too. And yeah, I don't know, like, everyone is so I can already see this happening, right? Like, if Penn State hires Bob Chesney, which I'm not saying is going to happen, to be clear, but if they do, the immediate discussion will be, wow, Penn State hired Virginia Tech's second choice to James Franklin. What are they doing? How is this going to go? I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Most of the time when you're hiring coaches, it's a guess, right? It's hoping that the fit works out, right? It's not necessarily about this Coach X is better than Coach Y in all situations. Everything is situation dependent. Like, Kirby Smart might be better at Georgia than he would have been had he stayed at Alabama and taken over for Nick Saban. Dan Lanning might be better at Oregon than he would have been had he stayed at Georgia and seeing if Kirby Smart was going to leave. Like, Steve Sarkisian might be better at Texas than, like, all of this works. Like, it's situation dependent. You need a coach for the specific situation. And at the end of the day, it all is kind of a guess and just hoping that it works out and getting lucky sometimes, right? Like, I know no one wants to think of it that way. Everyone wants to think like, you must do X, Y, and Z. This is how you land a good coach. Like, listen, they could go hire someone like completely off the wall and it could work out better than if they hired Nick Saban out of retirement, right? Like, you just don't know with these things because things change rapidly. And so I think everyone you're right. Like, there's a lot of consternation right now about, Penn State's missing on everyone. This isn't going how they wanted it to. Like, it was a bad decision. Nothing matters until they make the hire, right? Like, everything could have been a nightmare. And then all of a sudden they land a really good candidate and then everyone's happy, right? Or honestly, nothing matters until we see how the candidate fits at Penn State after a couple of years. We are trying, it is part of our job to make that judgment in the moment, but you can't really judge who they hired when they haven't hired anybody yet. Like I said this last time, everybody take a deep breath. They will make a hire. We will have a post-hiring podcast pretty much immediately after it happens, if possible.
Yeah.
But I just think everyone is like, it's tense. I get it. Everyone wants this to be like, they want Kirby Smart. They want Dan Lanning. Go get your Dan Lanning. That's why you hire Brian Hartline. It might not work out like that. Take a deep breath, relax. We'll see who they hire when it happens. We will. I promise you, Audrey and I will have that news rather quickly when it happens.
To get into all of this, yeah.
Yeah, but like you and I will also have the news quickly when it happens, when it breaks. Yeah. And I would imagine we'll have a long discussion about the pros and the cons, and then it won't be black and white as much as people want it to. So I just think I fully understand it, but I think there's a little too much tension right now, and I also think Terry Smith kind of played into that a little bit. That might end up hurting his cause.
Yeah, no, I think tonight it was like, people wanted to exhale because of the on-field product, and I had a lot of people in my live chat during the game that said like it was fun to watch a Penn State football game.
Yeah, it was fun to cover.
And they were like, it was fun to leave Beaver Stadium and feel good because this team won a game, right? Like,
and it was like even the Katron Allen aspect of it, like it was just fun, like even for us, like, did he get it? Like, and then he has the face mask and like, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to do the math, like. Frankly, this was the most fun I had covering a football game in a while, just because these games have been a bummer for the most part to watch because they're not good.
They're not good. They have not been competitive.
And it's not even that they weren't good; it's that everyone was miserable, right? Like even talking to players post game, like they were not in a good mood, like most of the time.
Yeah, and I spent most of post-game with Katron Allen, and he was asked about the face mask penalty, and he was just kind of like, he's like, yeah, I thought about that on the sideline. I was like, I don't get it, you know?
When he was limping afterward, too, and I was like, oh, no, like...
Yeah, that really would have been fitting for this season. But he did say, John, he was asked about the injury, and he goes, listen, the only way I was not coming back was if I had to get taken out on a cart, and I wasn't taken out on a cart.
Yeah.
And that's how I wrote my post game on my story on Katron Allen. It's up over my Substack, Inside the Lions. And, you know, he's a person that I want to mention this because this is part of the benefit of like the institutional knowledge and of getting to know these players and doing this a long time. Katron Allen was a player who, as a recruit, when he got here, he would not let people in. And it was very much like he was guarded. And he said, you know, this is where he came from and in Norfolk, Virginia, that it was like, hey, I'm here for business. I'm here to kind of get in, get out, get onto the NFL. And the guy that we talked to Saturday night, very late, pretty much Sunday morning, he's confident. And he's had the success on the football field, but as a person, he's grown. And he's, you know, the fact that I think I might have shared this story on here before, but the first time I went to interview Katron, he was in high school, and I showed up to the Under Armour All-America game, and he would not do interviews because he just didn't feel comfortable doing it. And you take
was that when we were at
some bowl game? But I think it was Outback because it was New Year's Eve, and I remember driving up New Year's Eve, and it was him. Caden was there. I don't remember if Denai was there or not. But every once in a while, like the picture will pop up somewhere on my phone. I'll be like, oh yeah, that was like this group. But I bring that up to say that same guy 4 years later is sitting in the media room tonight with a bunch of reporters crammed around him, kind of holding court and sharing, you know, his views on this record-setting night. And so it's just really cool to kind of see that growth. And he thanked James Franklin and he thanked Jaywan Snyder for helping kind of bring that out of him and letting him, you know, let his teammates in and get to know him. So I thought that was, you know, super cool. And again, you talk about people who aren't going to be here next year. He was asked about Terry Smith, and he said, yeah, Coach Terry should be the guy, the next head coach, because he believes in him and those kinds of things. So, you know, I think when you talk to the players, you're getting their perspective on Terry. But again, how many of these guys are even going to be here next year is the other piece. I think, John, maybe the question we get to this week, and this is like super pointed, but it's like, hey, player X, if Terry Smith's here next year, are you here?
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
is going to be a thing that a lot of people are wondering. I do want to address something. I don't know if you saw that I was writing something down.
I saw you. Yeah, you're
There's a conversation in the chat
Uh-oh.
about right now, and that I think is important because I've seen this
Okay.
elsewhere too, and I wanted to address it. Someone said if Paterno had Franklin's talent, he would have won title after title or any decent coach. James Franklin's recruiting classes for the last 10 years were ranked nationally 19th, 14th, 15th, 8th, 20th, 17th, 14th, 6th, 15th, 20th, 14th. He outperformed that pretty much consistently. Right, they were consistently a top 10 team despite having a recruiting class in the top 10 of that year twice. And one was 8, one was 6. They never had a top 5 class, dating all the way back to I think 15 was the last year I just checked. I get it. Everyone like Joe Paterno won national titles at Penn State and everything. I think it is a little misguided to think that he would have been winning national titles with this talent. Listen, we all saw it. Like there were plenty of years,
game.
and there
Like,
were
that's
plenty
the
of teams like other programs weren't trying as hard as they are now. It is more competitive. The playing field is leveling off more, and I fully understand.
Let's make this argument then, John. If we want to go that route, let's argue it the other way. How many more national titles could Penn State have won if Joe Paterno would have recruited more nationally as opposed to regionally?
Right, and
I think that's the other part of it.
And too, like those recruiting classes were also good, right? Like it's not like Penn State was bringing in like random players and succeeding with them in those eras, right? Like
it's also and it's the transfer portal now, and,
yes.
and the difference.
Things are just different.
Yes.
There's no need to make those comparisons. And like, listen, I know people don't like James Franklin because he got fired and everything, and things did not go how people wanted. You want to win a national title. I think it's a little intellectually dishonest to say that James Franklin isn't a good coach. Like he clearly is good. Whether you think he's great, elite, he's clearly a good coach. And he, like I just read it off again. This year's team includes recruiting classes that were 19th, 14th, 15th, 8th, and 20th. And like despite that, had national championship expectations because of the way that they developed talent. Like, and I think for all of the flaws and everything, they certainly were able to develop talent. They were certainly able to identify talent too. James's staffs, to be clear.
Mm-hmm. Well, wide receivers, we still have our questions, especially
wide receiver.
But
what's interesting is like Chris Godwin, right? Like was very good
early
on
on.
James
Yeah.
Franklin. Deshaun Hamilton like had a tumultuous
Jahan
career,
Dotson.
but yes, like
KJ Hamler was exciting, you know.
Yes, and it, for whatever reason, in the last 5 years, it has just been a nightmare trying to recruit guys and get them in. And listen, you have to put some of the blame at the feet of Marcus Hagans, but I think it just. I don't know. Sometimes things get weird. And to be clear, like I do see someone saying that like Joe Paterno was a great recruiter. Yeah, he was. They were winning a lot. Like that got a lot of talented. But my point is like it's not like Penn State was winning national titles every year. They won 2 national titles. And I know you can claim 94 as well, but even if across 40 plus years you won 3 national titles, even if you count 94. It's not like they were winning it every year.
I think the other thing, because again, I still consume James Franklin content because it's what the algorithm's feeding me, and but I was watching the Virginia Tech game while I was doing some other work Saturday afternoon, and he was on the broadcast and he made mention on there, and he did this in his other in-house interview that he did on Friday. They were asking him like kind of like, what do you want your offensive identity to be? And my ears kind of perked up because I'm like, well, what's he gonna say? Like, what is it? And he mentioned wanting to spread it out more than they did at Penn State and, you know, relying on receivers and being explosive. And then he said, he's like, well, we were built differently at Penn State because, you know, the climate's a little bit different. It's the Big Ten. You have to run the ball. And I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, we're going back to, like, the very thing that people wanted you to do here, but the wide receivers were never good enough. Like,
well, to be fair, he has a wide receiver coach in Fontel Mines, assuming he keeps him on staff that I think James wanted for a while as his wide receiver coach. But yeah, this is boy, we went off the rails quickly here.
Were we ever on?
No, that's
again. I couldn't get off the first 10 minutes.
We were not on air for about 10 minutes. Not envying producer Mike right now for whatever magic he's going to have to pull for the audio format for this. I think that's probably a good place to leave it for now. We will probably be live Monday or I guess tomorrow. Monday. I guess that's tomorrow now because we're at Sunday. As I turn into the kid at the sleepover who says, "Actually, it's the next day." But
actually, it's the next day. My mom's gonna pick me up in the morning if that's okay.
It's not the morning; it's today. But yes, we will be live. I think Monday night is a plan. Probably around. We try to do 6-7 o'clock so people, home from work, what have you, like try and make it as accessible as we can. If you have. There's times that works for everybody. Let us know. Right? Like we would love to find out to make it work for everybody to be live whenever's best, and everyone can be in the chat and engaging. Yeah. We will take questions.
2 a.m. is a little tough.
I think it's a little tough for all of us. On Monday, we will take questions in the chat as we always do. I tried to get to some stuff that I saw tonight, including me just having to prove that wrong about, again, I read the recruiting classes off. Penn State outperformed their recruiting ranking pretty much every year outside of this one.
In the Iron Bowl.
And yeah, we'll be paying attention to the Iron Bowl next week. Like I said, someone said plan to be live Black Friday, book it. I assume they're talking about a potential hiring. Please don't do that to me. I just want to watch the Eagles game
Black Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Egg Bowl.
Yeah. And the Egg Bowl, which that is going to be.
That'll be so. Yeah. I would say if you think our coaching search is wild.
Yes. Oh, man. We could go on for hours about Lane.
Yeah, LSU's making Penn State look normal these days.
The magic that is Lane Kiffin. But yeah, we'll be back Monday, 7 p.m. Until then, don't forget to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts if you're listening after the fact. And if you are listening after the fact, thank you for bearing with whatever technical issues show up at the beginning of that. Thank you to everyone who bared with us tonight, too, by the way. That is live. We have a bunch of viewers here. We greatly appreciate all of you. I greatly appreciate all of the jokes in the chat as well. They always make me laugh. If you're watching on YouTube after the fact, I don't know what's going to happen with those first 10 minutes, but we'll see. We'll see what that looks like.
You can remember Penn State with all the stadium upgrades. The Wi-Fi still cuts out, even when there's only like 10 people in here.
Yes, we're one of a few left here in the press box at this point. If you are watching on YouTube, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well. We are now over 3,000 subscribers and have begun the march to 4,000. Right. I know it may not seem like much, and you may just watch and search Nittany Dispatch every time you go on YouTube, but it is super helpful if you guys hit the subscribe button. We greatly appreciate all of you. If you would like to find Audrey, you can find her on social media at OddSnyder4 on Twitter and AudreySnyder.bsky.social on Blue Sky. You can find all of her writing at InsideTheLines.substack.com, where I cannot recommend enough that you go subscribe. You can find all of my writing at CenterDaily.com, where you should also subscribe and read all of my work over there. You can find me on Twitter at John Sauber. That is JONSAUBER, no H in John. And that is pretty much the same on Blue Sky, where it's at johnsauber.bsky.social. Like I said, we will be back on Monday. which is like, and we'll
hear from Terry Smith Monday afternoon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll have some juice, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Terry says at that point. Thanks to you, everyone in the chat. I see a lot of people thanking us. Thanks to you guys.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate all of you being here at 2 a.m. Until Monday, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.